think about this so much. I really think about it a lot, only because I keep hearing people say, I wish my kids could afford to buy a home. I'm
Yeah.
afraid my kids can't buy a home. So reflecting back, I'm thinking about what would I have told my younger self?
Hmm.
Definitely, I would have never told my younger self to go to the head of the class and buy the nicest home with the open concept. It would have been more, what is the savvy thing to do financially?
Yeah.
And
Can
my
I ask
young,
you a question? When did
what,
you buy your first house?
1982,
Okay. So, and
1980.
did you buy it by yourself or with your, like, what was your experience?
I bought it with an ex-husband. So, and to tell you the truth, I was not even paying attention. I wasn't participating. I was just that
Yeah. That was
winging
kind
it.
of more normal probably back then,
Right.
even now sometimes. Okay. So go
Yeah.
ahead. So when you did that, you guys bought a single family home, and what were some of the things that you were like, this is what I want?
Um, well, I I guess now I don't even really want to go that far back.
Okay.
Yeah, just more thinking now about all my nieces, nephews, godkids, what I want to tell them
Okay.
to do, or not even tell them, but I just want them to have some hope. I'm real sad by the number of times that I hear people say, I can never. I
Right.
just kind of want to smack that out of people's vocabulary, because
Uh,
if you say I can never, you probably can never.
right.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell, the younger folks, the younger me, that I would have said, hey, and I'm going to go right for it. I'm thinking the smart, savvy thing that I wish I would have done
Yep.
as a single person after my divorce was to have bought a duplex.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking that the opportunity is there. You've got peace of mind. You've got somebody coexisting with you close by to help you make that payment, to own that slice of heaven.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of home ownership, of somebody coming home at the end of the day, having a clean, warm place to call your own.
Hmm.
And I think that duplexes, myself, are just a really, really good way to propel you into getting to the next level.
Yeah.
So that's my soapbox there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and especially now on the lender side, there's so many great options to buy a duplex, a two, three, or four family home right now. You only need 5% down if you plan on
Yeah.
living in the property, right? Where we did have the option before to go through FHA, but it had some restrictions that made it not as possible to what people term as house hack, which is well, that is a term. It's when you live in the house for a year and then move out and you buy another house,
Right.
sell and then rent out the one that you were living in. So yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything else that you would have told your younger self that you do know now?
Um, Definitely to plan on it. Just put it in writing, set the goal, set the intention,
Mhm.
set a time limit, and
Mhm.
then finally say, okay, I can't get much better than I am. Where am I at? What can I afford to buy?
Yeah,
Instead of constantly belaboring it, because to me, the longer you belabor it, the further it takes it out of your reach.
yeah. And what would you say is the best if somebody is just watching this today and they're like, I don't even know where to start? How do I start to find a duplex or to know, to start my plan to save money, or how much money do I need to save? What would you say
Right.
is kind of like the best advice you have for getting started?
I think getting started, I would love to have a Zoom call with you, the three of us on a phone call. You
Yeah.
know, it's kind of like, hey, Danielle, can you talk to this person? Can you tell them whether or not they're shopping Nordstrom's or TJ Maxx? Where can they shop?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times people can do better than they realize.
Yeah.
And you might be able to bring them to that, to say, oh no, you can do a little bit better than you thought you could. Then we could find out the amount of rents coming in for that neighborhood, to
Yeah.
find out, oh, we can go from 680 to 820,
Mhm.
which means closer to wherever, whoever you want to live closer to,
Right.
things like that.
Yeah. And yeah, that's another nice thing about a duplex is that you can use that income as, or that rent as income when you're qualifying, right? So
Yeah.
someone that has a job, and maybe is just starting out or feels like, how could I ever afford, this house, and how could I qualify it? If I get the amount of money that I need in rent to cover half of it, and I can easily afford the other half, that's amazing, right? But
It
will
is.
I qualify that way? Yeah.
And you can use what, 75% of the rent to help you qualify?
Yes.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. It is huge. Yeah. And, right. And you don't have to have landlord experience to be able to do that either. As a first time home buyer now with this program, which is also another big win. So that's pretty awesome.
Right.
You got to have at least 1 year of landlord experience. So, is there a tip that you would give, I guess, for somebody that is looking to buy that, yes, talk to a lender, talk to a realtor. Is there anything else that you could maybe advise I don't know if you get into this as a realtor, but do you ever talk about budget or, like making practice house payments? Like they're renting right now, or maybe living with mom and dad and aren't really sure what they can afford, what they can qualify for. Yes, that's a whole other thing, but how much monthly payment should they be making?
Well, and I think that they need to really, they need to be accurate in their conversations, because I've had several people say, oh, I can afford, I don't know, 4,500 a month.
Yeah.
And then my next question is, how much are you paying in rent? Well, I'm paying 2,000.
Right.
So are you putting that $2,500 a month aside? Because you're telling me you're comfortable doing that.
Right.
So are you doing that to find out if in truth, is that actually comfortable for you?
Right.
Because I think we all jump ahead in our minds. We think things through.
Yeah.
But I think the follow-up is the bank's going to say, hey, you said you could afford 45.
Yeah.
And where's the check? you know?
And
So,
make sure you feel comfortable. I usually tell people if they can do this for at least 4 to 6 months, put that money aside. And even
right.
better, putting it in a high yield savings account where they can get between 4 and 5%. So they earn a little extra cash while it's there, right? Then they'll know, is this really comfortable? And they may even say, hey, 4,500 is great. And realize that we could probably even make it 5,000, right? If we control our spending in other ways. But we also don't want to be house poor. You want to be able to get your foot in the door, not
Right.
your house poor, but your foot in the door, so that you can start building equity and then refinance, obviously, once rates drop, which we know that will happen too. But never get yourself into a position where you can't.
Right. Right.
So that's cool. Okay, that was awesome. Is there anything else that you want to talk about having to do with like?
No, not necessarily at this time. Just like I said, that's just something that I want to talk to my younger self, younger clients about.
Yeah.
I just want to give everybody some sort of hope. I think at some point in time, you're too old to, you're now in your 70s, you still haven't bought your house yet. You're like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that.
No.
It's never too late, but please start. That's all I want to say to somebody is please start.
Yeah. The earlier, the better, right? If you can make it happen. And then speaking to the fact that there are more single women buying homes than single men. So not having to wait to be married. I really like that. And I'd have to look at the percentage. I had that memorized before, but that women are not waiting. Single people are not waiting for marriage to buy their first home. They then figure that they're coming into, if they decide to get married at some point, they're coming in with an asset, a really nice asset that can either be rented or, they end up moving into, or they could use it to sell and buy something else. They just have lots of options. So I love that part too. Okay. I'm trying to think if there's like, something fun that we could do just in the last few minutes. I know it's 1:36, just to sit like, that would be, since we're talking about like what I would tell my younger self, like just something based on that, where I've seen, maybe you could just say like, have more fun, take certain things more seriously. I don't know if there's like 3 or 4 more things. It doesn't have to be real estate involved.
Or just not to be afraid to take a risk, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah, just don't be afraid. Don't be so afraid to take a risk.
Yeah.
And
When you're
there's
right.
especially where I'm at, it's pretty safe to take a risk. It's most things that you do, you can come back from it. If you decide this is too expensive, I don't want home ownership, you could rent it out, you could sell it again. I believe that in Southern California, it's such a desirable place.
Yeah.
I don't believe you're going to lose your shorts. I say take that risk.
Yeah.
Stop with the you're so luckies to everybody and become that lucky person. Luck is something it's the luckier, what is it, the expression, the harder I work, the luckier I get.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good
So,
win. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.